Coral reefs play a vital role in the health of our planet. Not only a vital role in the health of our oceans, they also play a role in our health and our economy. Corals are, in a sense, animal, mineral, and vegetable. Corals may look like a rock, but they are actually little animals called polyps, which live in colonies. They filter feed at night and form their rock-like structures by secreting limestone. Inside the tissues of each polyp lives a kind of algae which uses sunlight to synthesize food for the polyp. The polyp and the algae are dependent on each other for food and shelter. Coral reefs are the crater of life in the ocean. It's where an enormous food web begins, and where much of our food web begins. Coral reefs provide a major source of protein for many communities worldwide. Coral reefs provide so much more than just seafood. Animals that live on the coral reef create unique chemicals that aren't found on land. These chemicals are used to make medicines and food supplements. Reefs also provide an important barrier to protect coastal communities from storms and erosion. Healthy reefs also attract divers and tourists and help create the business that supports them. Coral reefs are also an indicator of water quality because they can only tolerate narrow ranges of temperatures, salinity, water clarity, and other water conditions. But the way we are harvesting seafood is destroying the reefs and all the potential the reefs have to provide for us in the future. We are taking fish from the ocean at a rate that is completely unsustainable, sometimes using destructive methods like poison and blast fishing. This disrupts an ecosystem that has been in balance for a very long time. Certain species flourish at the expense of others, such as jellyfish and lionfish. 70% of the world's fisheries are operated beyond sustainable levels. As the population increases, the pressure to fish will just continue to increase. Also, with the overfishing of reef fish, the removal of plant-eating fish, algae grows rampant and smothers the coral, which kills them.
Well, another sign of a warming world, scientists issued a dire warning today about the beautiful and fragile coral reefs in the world's oceans, saying these critical ecosystems are being done in by global warming and pollution.
Petroleum hydrocarbons from the oil industry have also caused widespread damage to coral reefs. The levels of oil and its derivatives in the marine environment have been correlated with coral diseases like the black band disease. Drilling activities frequently occur near reefs. Drilling mud can suffocate reefs, and it also contains compounds that disrupt growth and cause diseases. Discharges result in an increase in diatoms and a decrease in marine fauna in their vicinity. Many millions of tons of oil are transported through the region each year. Oil spills affect coral reefs through smothering, resulting in a lack of further colonization. Coral reefs come in contact with oil in three major ways. Firstly, oil floating on the water's surface can be deposited directly on corals in an intertidal zone when the water levels drop at low tide. Secondly, rough seas can mix lighter oil products into the water column, like shaking up a bottle of salad dressing, where they can drip down to the coral reefs and smother corals below. Once oil comes in contact with corals, it can kill them or impede their reproduction, growth, behavior, and development. The entire reef ecosystem can suffer from an oil spill, affecting the many species of fish, crabs, and other marine invertebrates that live in and around coral reefs.
The ocean is full of all sorts of garbage. Plastics, metal, wood, rubber, and glass can all be found littering our oceans. The waste is carried from rainfall and runoff into the ocean. These wastes are often non-biodegradable or persist over long periods of time, causing damage which is primarily of a physical nature. There are three main kinds of pollution: solid, trash, poisonous chemical, and waste organic matter such as sewage and farm fertilizers. Solid waste damage coral colonies at the time of dumping, and thereafter through movements with natural tidal and surge action. So how does it damage the coral reefs? These pollutants have many serious direct impacts on our coral reef ecosystem. These pollutants can enhance algae growth on reefs, crowding out coral and significantly degrading the ecosystem due to the poor water qualities. It also largely impacts the coral inability to obtain necessary energy from light because it increases turbidity of the water due to the pollution process. The polyps are filter feeders, so when the turbidity increases, it disrupts their eating habits and kills them. Landfill activities result in increased level of sedimentation as soils is nearly always dumped without the benefit of screens or silt barriers. Runoff from farms, industry, and coastal construction can bury corals with sediments and pollution. Corals polyps, although able to withstand moderate sediment loading, cannot displace heavier loads and perish through suffocation. The development of ports and marinas also involves dredging deep channels through reef area for safe navigation and berthing, and damaged reef through the direct removal of coral colonies, sediments fallout, and disruption of the normal current patterns on which the reef depend on nutrients.
The warming of the seas are causing coral bleaching, a process where polyps lose their colorful algae and turn pale. This further weakens the reefs, and because the ocean is absorbing so much of the extra carbon dioxide that we are putting into the atmosphere, it is becoming more acidic, which is making it harder for corals to grow. The skeleton of the coral is a chalk base. When the acid gets mixed in the ocean, it breaks down the base of the coral and kills everything inside, including the polyp. As the base breaks down, it becomes powder, which increases the turbidity and shades the coral from sunlight. In fact, the oceans have absorbed about a third of the carbon dioxide produced from human activity since the 1800s and absorbed a half of the carbon dioxide produced by the burning of fossil fuels. Also, the vast change of temperatures of the oceans are able to kill large areas of coral reefs. Being small, corals cannot fluctuate their temperatures, so when the temperature increases, the corals suffocate. Events like El Niño can kill millions of coral reefs in one go. During an El Niño season, trade winds weaken, which depresses normal oceanic upwelling processes and affects the climate. El Niño can lead to an increase of sea surface temperature. During the 1998 El Niño, extensive and severe coral reef bleaching occurred, especially in the Caribbean. Approximately 80 to 90% of all shallow water corals were killed. The combination in rise temperature normally and El Niño is a high concern to scientists.
Finally tonight, the fight to rescue a sunken treasure. The treasure is coral, which protects our shores and even provides medicine, but it's disappearing 4 times as fast as the rainforest.
At present, 60% of the reef on the planet are already threatened by local activities, mainly overfishing and pollution. Unless we can slow down climate change and reduce overfishing and pollution by 2030, 90% of coral reef will be threatened. By 2050, virtually all reefs will be threatened. Without coral reefs, we will not only lose the important food source, but many communities will lose their tourism and fishing economies, and the coast will be much more vulnerable to storm and erosion. We will also lose an enormous amount of biological diversity, which will close the doors on all kinds of new potential medicines and other potential benefits.
Our motto is,
One little action is a chain reaction.
we believe that the future of the coral reef lies in our hands. With your help, we can increase the chances that coral reefs will survive in the future. Here are some things that we can do together.
Conserve water. The less water you use, the less runoff and wastewater will pollute our oceans.
Help reduce pollution. Walk, bike, or ride the bus. Fossil fuel emissions from cars and industry lead to ocean warming, which causes mass bleaching of the corals.
Use only ecological or organic fertilizers. Although you may live thousands of miles from a coral reef ecosystem, these products flow into the water system, pollute the ocean, and can harm coral reefs and marine life.
Dispose of our trash properly. Don't leave unwanted fishing lines or nets in the water or on the beach. Any kinds of litter pollutes the water and can harm the reef and the fish.
Support reef-friendly businesses. Ask the fishing, boating, hotel, aquarium, dive, or snorkeling operation how they protect the reef. Be sure they care for the living reef ecosystem and ask if the organization responsible is part of a coral reef ecosystem management effort.
When you buy fish or shellfish from the store, make sure they are from a stable fishery and caught with sustainable methods.
Plant a tree. Trees reduce runoff into the oceans. You will also contribute to reversing the warming of our planet and the rising temperatures of our oceans.
Practice safe and responsible diving and snorkeling. Do not touch the reef or anchor your boat on the reef. Contact with coral will damage the delicate coral animals, and anchoring on the reef can kill it. So look for a sandy bottom.
Volunteer for a coral reef cleanup. You don't have to live near a coral reef, then do what many people do with your vacation. Visit a coral reef, spend an afternoon enjoying the beauty of one of the most diverse ecosystems on the earth.
Contact your government representatives. Demand they take action to protect coral reefs, stop sewage pollution of our oceans, expand marine protect areas, and take steps to reverse global warming.
Finally, spread the word. Remember how important the planet's coral reefs are for us, but also the intricate global ecosystem. A coral reef, the perfect image of beauty, slowly demolished by humans. Dying damaged deliberately. Boom! One more reef damage, begging for help in pain, crying out for us to hear. As beautiful as the ocean itself, as complex as a maze, as caring as a brand new mother, the coral reef lies in pain. The destruction will never stop, but perseverance is the key, and someday, the world will once again live in peace.
We've all got a gift, yeah, something to give to make a change. Send it all.